taking a walk in the woods is worth $25,000. Thank you very much. I'll be honest here, bud. You should have just let Trump come in and take over your country. You know, I know it sounds bad. I know it sounds rough. I know you have a lot of pride in your Canadian stuff there, bud. But $25,000 for taking a walk in the woods there, bud. That sounds a little bit little hefty. A little hefty, bud. I don't know about you, but that to me sounds a little bit crazy.
This is absolutely crazy.
Yeah.
And you don't even know what's going on up in Canada.
Ironically.
Have you seen the latest fine that is being imposed for Canadians who live near the woods, Blabs?
What?
What?
You cannot go and hike in the woods.
Oh, yeah.
If you do, you are risking a $25,000 fine if you are caught in the woods.
I hope they're 25,000 Canadian Canuck dollars. Okay, that'd save you some stuff, obviously. Because if those are American dollars, I mean, even though the American dollar is not doing that great, woo-wee, you're getting hammered, boys.
Huh?
This was handed down just the other day. So this guy's gonna give you a quick rundown, and then I'll give you the full breakdown of it.
Hey everybody, Jeff Evely here, out in Nova Scotia on Mountain Road in Coxheath. And as you can see behind me, this is the woods.
Man, he is really angling for some trouble here. I mean, this is very dangerous stuff that he's doing. He's out here in the woods. He's endangering everyone by being out there. I mean, he's next to a tree. That tree is producing oxygen for the rest of humanity. He could fall into that bush and damage the entire planet's lungs and oxygen supply. I think he needs to be removed from society via fines.
But over here, this is not the woods. This is the Department of Natural Resources, where the conservation officers work, who issue $25,000 fines for going in the woods.
Not bad.
So pay attention because this just came down in Canada.
Yep.
And he goes inside.
Now, to be totally fair, I think this actually happened like 2 weeks ago. Side Scrolls is just covering it now because I'm guessing this guy also got it. So we were thinking maybe perhaps the one guy who got it, again, like I want to say 2 weeks ago, just got it and was like, being a complete prick or something like that. And was therefore, like really asking for it, was doing something weird. And they were like, no, like no one's actually going to get fined for this if they comply with the law, if they're like reasonable, if they're not resisting, if they're not being, if they're not being a dope, basically. Apparently not. Apparently other people are getting this, unless this is the same guy and they're just covering it way later. But my guess is this is another dude who's getting this fine, which is crazy.
And he's recording this, so pay attention to what's going on.
Jeff Evely, I called earlier.
Evely?
Yeah, Evely. I spoke to somebody earlier. About the woods ban.
Yep.
And I understand that you guys issue $25,000 fines right now for anybody who goes in.
Yep.
Okay, I'm gonna go in the woods over here.
Yeah.
I don't wanna make any trouble for you guys, okay? I took this to court the last time they did it. They said I didn't have standing because I wasn't fined, so there was no money involved.
Okay.
So I wanna challenge this order in court, and the only way for me to do that is to get the fine. So I'm not trying to make trouble for you guys, okay? I just want a piece of Tim Houston. And
that's a little. This is hilarious. This is the most Canadian thing on the planet, where it's like, hey, bud, sure don't want to be a bother here. I understand that this is your job and you got to be going out there and you got to be giving people fines and stuff. I'm not trying to ruin your day there, bud. But if you could just possibly give me a fine, because I would sure like to take this to court. And, have my day in court, because that Tim Houston, he's a real bother to me there, bud. I don't want to, again, I'm sorry about this. I brought you I brought you some Timmy Hortons, I brought you some good stuff here. I got you some donuts and some coffee over there. So, once you're done with that, I'm going to be out there in the woods. We could make this real quick. I don't want to ruin the rest of your day. Hilarious.
Accommodating and nice as I can be. I'm just gonna.
Okay, so I'm ordering you to not.
Okay.
Okie dokie.
I understand. Roger that.
Okay, so he now makes his way into the woods.
That's awesome. That's
Which
awesome.
that cop totally just saved his ass by telling him that he put an order, because then they could be like, there was no sign posted, this or that. So that was like, okay, I'm telling you, you can't, so you're gonna do it, and then I can issue a fine.
Right.
Crazy.
And it's as a, you look at things Lumpy, from a law enforcement perspective, you're saying that was a good thing that he did that.
Well, for the case, for the officer, because if you think about it, I mean, let's be honest, if you write something or you arrest somebody or issue anything, your name's attached to that, right? So if you didn't cover your P's and Q's, especially for a guy that's going to take this as an example, he was smart. He's like, man, I gotta do everything to the book here. That's why he said the way he said it. Is it right that they're doing it? Of course not. But you can see the game that they're playing. It's crazy.
So he goes.
Yeah, this is why in general, whenever you're being questioned by the police, even if you screwed up, you're kind of like, no, I don't know. It's just, you don't. Shutting up is like not necessarily always a great plan, but if you're too flustered or stupid to, be able to not incriminate yourself, the best thing to do is to just shut up. But otherwise, you can just be like, I don't know. It's like, hey, I caught you doing 55 and a 40. I don't know. It's like, do you know how fast you're going? I don't know. I'm not sure. Okay, do you know where you're doing? No, I don't know. I'm not really sure. Sorry, I apologize. I don't know. I'm not sure. Yeah, because anything else is kind of like acknowledging that you were in the wrong, and that's bad for your case.
Goes into the woods. And
a lot of times, if the, officer doesn't have anything to charge you with, if you don't admit your guilt, they're like, it's not worth my time. It's not worth my time to file this stuff because, they could fight it very easily. So it's just like, it's not worth my time.
Has the officers witness him going into the woods? And then he comes back in, he says, well, I was in the woods, and they handed out this fine, and you can see written on the paper right there, Blabs, a $28,872.50.
So maybe it was $25 US
fine right there.
So I've actually gone and looked this up whilst this was playing, and I understand why they've done the fines. Have you looked this up?
Go ahead. Tell me why.
There's a lot of wildfires currently going on in Canada right now, including Nova Scotia. So to prevent the spread of wildfires, they're basically banning people from being in areas that have high risk of wildfire right now. So it was basically prevention method in case this hiker would go and start another fire. Now, I don't agree with the whole banning things because it's literally like the woods, but I kind of...
Okay, I mean... That's the rationale they're using. There's already laws in the books for having fires and them not being controlled in certain ways. You've got park rangers. It's not like we don't have forest fires in the US, right? And the vast majority, 100% of all of them, basically, especially all the ones that you heard about, all the famous forest fires, recently in LA, they're started by either junkies that are starting fires, crazy people that are starting fires on purpose to, specifically burn stuff down, or I was going to say lightning strikes. I don't think that really happens all that often. They don't generally spread as much nowadays because if you've got a lightning strike, usually it's raining and therefore they're put out relatively quickly. It's not to say it doesn't happen, but it's not as big of a deal. And then the third real one that happens a lot is bad infrastructure. And you have power lines that will spark and explode because, usually this is happening in California. They don't replace their stuff. They explode and they'll send sparks down and that'll start the forest fires. In terms of people going out and hiking, that doesn't happen. Everyone who goes out and hikes does not want to start a forest fire because guess what? The place where that forest fire starts is where you're sleeping. So you're going to be the first person to be burned alive. So those people are pretty serious about making sure that, you know, their fires are stamped out, their fires are well controlled, and their fires are not going to end their trip prematurely, let's say. Okay? So I understand the reason that this person, you know, Blabs, thinks that, you know, this rationale makes sense. But to be honest, there are already laws in the books for this. There's already plenty of laws in the books. It's like definitely in Canada for sure, where in which, you know, it's illegal to do fires in certain areas, certain times. Yeah, absolutely. That stuff's already on the books. So the fact that they're adding this new stuff on there for like going in the woods at all is just like, it can't be just for this. Or, I mean, it could be, but it's just like, the only reason you would do something like this is just to like raise the, you know, bar for authoritarianism. It's like, what more stuff can we get away with, basically?
Understand prevention methods because it's really, really bad. Do I agree with the whole fining and do I agree with how that's going about? Absolutely not. But the best way to work about the wildfires is clearing up the woods and getting rid of all the dead shit. But
Blabs, it's just 2 weeks. Just 2 weeks to stop the spread of the wildfires.
no, I'm telling you, I don't agree with it. And also, the wildfires have been going on like for way longer than 2 weeks. Now, again, I don't agree with any.
They've been going on forever. I mean, if we're gonna be totally honest here, of course, I mean, they're a natural part of nature. They're supposed to be. You're supposed to be able to clear dead wood. Plenty of literal plant species rely on the fact that there is a continual cycle of burns and renewal. Like, what is it? The redwood or sequoia tree, their seeds only sprout in the heat of a forest fire. That's it. It's the only time they're actually able to, you know, germinate and sprout and do any of these types of things. So those trees have evolved over millions of years with the assumption that there's going to be cyclical forest fires. All right. So obviously we get involved in this and we say, oh, well, forest fires are bad. They're natural. They're part of nature. They're normal. Okay. If you want to be, you know, good stewards, go ahead and do like the, you know, the Indians and Native Americans did and do controlled burns on their fire. They did that all the time.
It's for your own protection. It's for your own protection.
I don't actually agree with it, but I
Throw some Yogi Berra signs up there, and that's it. The Yogi the Bear signs.
No, the best way to do this is like to clean up the woods and get rid of all the stuff that's high risk and flammable. But
yeah,
it's wild.
You gotta burn.
I don't agree with any of the way they're going about. I don't agree with banning it whatsoever. For some reason, people think I do.
Well, you just said you understand why.
Well, no, that's not what I mean. I understand like they're trying to do.
And again, I mean, I think this is the whole point: is that the fact that she's looking at this and she's going, you know what? I think they're being like they're overreaching, but I get it. It makes sense. That's why they said this is why they're doing it. They said that they're doing it for this reason because it will get a couple people to go, no, all right. I mean, like, I don't like it, but I get it. It's like, no. There's already stuff there. Okay. They don't need to put this new stuff on the books. They're putting this new stuff on the books to kind of like see what they can get away with. There is the reason for this could be just simply they want to raise revenue. They want to fine people. They're trying to figure out a new scheme to raise money. That's a possibility. That happens. It can also just be like, you know, we're doing this because we want people not in the woods, like at all. We just don't want them in the woods at all. And, you know, because the woods are nature, the woods are sacred, we don't want anybody there. That's totally also a possibility. Legit.
Prevention, and I get that, but this is not the way to go about it.
So fining your people $28,872 for walking in the woods.
Did you hear what I just said?
I'm not fighting you on this, Blabs. I
think it's insane.
Yes, this is absolutely insane. 1,000% insane. And I don't want to hear anybody from Canada
It's insane.
ever talking shit about the United States. I said this the other day on my...
All right. So there's somebody guy in this super chatted, not for me, but for them. Nova Scotia is the only place in Canada without the fires. This is a test run for control. Look up the heat map. It's BS, different place. And again, I mean, this is probably, my guess would be, I don't think it's just Nova Scotia. Is it just Nova Scotia that has these fines? I think it's just Canada in general. And I mean, this is another part of, you know, why do you want these, you know, nationwide bans. Why do you want like a federal government to be deciding all these things? Okay. They're in one area. They're not aware of everything that's happening in, the rest of the country, especially in a big, large country like Canada. They're not going to be as aware of the situation on the ground as the people that are there, locally. The local authorities should be the people who are handling this. And again, I've said it before, I'll say it again. There are already laws on the books about this. Okay. We don't need more stuff. Okay. The only people that benefit from more laws and more bureaucracy in this case is the bureaucracy. You're just growing it. And it's becoming unwieldy, and it's becoming authoritarian and ridiculous.
My timeline says, I have Canadians on my timeline, like talking poorly about the United States. They can have their opinions all they want, but we can actually take walks in our woods and not be fined $28,000.
Yeah.
That's wild.
Like,
I have friends who live in Ontario, and they're like, "Can you just come invade us? Can we be the 51st state?" And
I
they're
don't
like,
want
"Please take us."
don't want it. No interest. Like Canada.
You had your chance.
It's such a broken ass.
Yeah, but if
place
they
right
become
now.
a 51st state, it won't be as broken.
Oh no!
You can keep Quebec, Canada. Quebec can just secede, and then the rest of Canada can be folded in. That's fine. I think that'd probably work, right?
No, they will break everything. Are you kidding me?
Ontario, Alberta. Alberta's pretty based, dude. Have you not?
No.
Yeah, no, most
Paid
of them.
attention to anything
We'll turn
about them?
very blue if we got them.
Alberta, no.
Blabs, if Canada came in as a
If you got
singular state,
Quebec and all those other ones, yes,
Yeah.
it'd be very blue. But like Alberta, they're no, they're very red.
no, it would be.
Do you know where Alberta is on the map?
I see everything that's happening in Canada, and if that was brought into American culture, it would be a fucking disaster. It would be a
Disaster.
fucking disaster.
Oh
Yes,
my God.
it would be Phoenix by all means. I mean, you were just talking about it.
It would be an absolute shit show. It really, really would. As
Yeah.
a whole, I know what you're. So I don't live in Canada. You would know it better than me, Blabs. But I would say as a whole, if you brought them in, because there's been a lot of discussion.
If you like I said, if you leave like Quebec to Canada and
Yeah.
like a good chunk of Ontario and all these other places, leave the blue. But Alberta's like the one area that's like, leave us alone. Yeah.
All right, deal. We'll leave. How about they just can't come? How about that? They can be their own country.
At this point, you might as well just open the borders. At that point, that point, we got
Yeah.
better shots of just leaving the borders open. At that point, we just no.
I was actually thinking about this on a totally deeper level than what we're talking about the other day, but everything was happening over the last 4 or 5 years with the insanity in the United States. People were like, oh, Texas should secede, and they bring Oklahoma, and they bring Louisiana, and pretty much the entire southern United States. Like that was like a discussion that was had online. It wasn't a realistic discussion.
That's true.
But I was thinking, like, if we just let the entire west coast of the United States secede, if that was to happen, then you may say, well, that would suck. But by their own rules, we could just come and go as we saw fit, and we wouldn't be illegal ever. We could be residents of both, and we could come in and we wouldn't need passports because, hey, you can just go if you wanted to. Hey, no one's illegal, right? So we could just make our way in there and be a part of.
Yeah, I don't think they would do that though. I mean, it's only okay when they're the people who are not bearing the brunt of it. Like now you have a Gavin Newsom, now you have New York, now you have Chicago, all these people that are like, no, actually now we care about immigration. Now that, it's affecting us. Now that some of these people are coming here instead of, it's just Texas, it's just, border towns along the Mexican border. They're the people who are, actually being affected by this. Now that it's touching us, no. I don't think there's any way. I mean, if California secedes, they're gonna have a very strong border. They're gonna be very, very for sure, super duper, really pushing for a strong border.
America West, just saying, get a little taste of their own medicine.
Yeah, no, I don't think that's going to work out. Although, I'll be honest, it's like, would it be better if we were to just secede? You were to have a sort of like legit American divorce and we could actually kind of like break stuff up. Obviously, the correct solution here is to go, all right, we're going to actually just knock down the federal government's power And therefore, each of the states gets to be much more so their own local government and have a lot more authority over their own interests and their own, local concerns. That would be the way that I would solve it. But I don't know. Let me know what you think in the comments. Good luck in all your endeavors. Thank you very much for your time and attention. Farewell for now.